Hi there. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do these nails here. These are acrylic white and clear acrylic. So let's get started. What we need to do first is push back our cuticles. So I'm going to get a cuticle pusher. I'm going to push back my cuticles. Okay, I'm going to grab my drill, and it's a fine bit, and I'm just going to sand my nail, my natural nail, getting all the oils off of my natural nail. So we're just going to sand that nail. Try to get to the cuticles, but not touching the cuticle, into the corners. And if you don't have a drill, you can always use a fine file. Okay, after that's done, just clean off all of the dust off of your fingers. So I have my glue here, and I'm just going to place it on my nail. I'm going to slide it along. Now I'm going to grab the nail that I chose. I'm going to slide along the nail just to make sure it's all full of glue, and then I'm just going to place and press down. Okay, I'm just going to push down the corners, making sure that the corners are sticking to my nail. Okay, I'm going to do my next one here. Okay, now I'm just going to grab my cuticle pusher and just push down the corners, making sure the corners are glued down to the nail. Okay, after that's done, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my primer. This one is, I'm going to be using this one. It's a No Lifts Nail Primer. And I'm just going to apply 2 coats, letting the first one dry, and then apply a second coat and let that dry. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll be right back, and I'm going to apply a second coat and let it dry. Okay, so my primer has dried. Now I'm just going to clean my acrylic brush. I have my liquid and my powder here. This is the clear powder here. I'm just going to wet the tip of this nail here. Now I'm just going to apply the clear acrylic onto the nail. And I'm just going to push it down and then slide it. And slide. Okay, I'm just going to clean the edges. Okay, after that's done, I'm going to grab my tool here that I have for French, and I'm just going to grab a this size here, just a bigger size of the nail, and I'm just going to place it on the nail here to make the C, and then I'm going to slide down and clean that acrylic off of that tool. Now I'm just going to grab my brush, and I'm just going to make the C more. Now I'm going to go to my thumb. I'm going to wet the nail. Now I'm going to dip on the side, powder, upside down, and place. I'm going to wet my brush again, and I'm just going to go up, side, up. Okay. Now I'm just going to go upwards with it, and I'm going to clean the edges. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a bigger one here for the thumb. I'm going to wet it, dip it in the liquid, and I'm just going to apply it to my nail, and I'm going to slide like that. And now I'm going to clean the rest of the acrylic on there. And now I'm going to let this, make sure that it's the C. Okay, now I'm going to do the whites. So I have the white right here. Now I'm just going to dip my brush, clean it. I'm going to wet the tip here. I'm just going to grab a little bit of white, just very little, like that, upside down. And I'm going to make sure my brush is really wet. So I'm just going to slide it along. Slide it along. And then push up. It doesn't matter if it goes on the sides. We can clean that later. Okay. Clean your edge. Clean the edge. Okay, now I'm going to apply more of the white. I'm just going to apply it right to the middle. And then now I'm just going to pat it down, and I'm going to slide. Now I want to clean that C a little bit, so I'm just going to make sure my brush is wet, and I'm just going to go along, and that's it. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to go to my thumb, I'm going to wet it. I'm going to grab a little bit of liquid, a little bit of white, upside down, and then I'm going to place on my thumb. Make sure my brush is really wet, and I'm going to slide it. And then I'm going to go up. And grab more white. Okay, now I'm going to go to the clear. So bring back my clear. I'm going to wet my nail, the whole nail. I'm going to dip, grab it, place it into the middle of the nail, and then slide up. I'm going to go and grab a little bit more liquid, and I'm just going to slide up. Okay, I want to make sure. Now I'm going to grab some more for the tip. So I'm just going to place. I'll go downwards. Okay, now I'm going to grab some more for the bottom just to seal it all in. Now I'm going to grab my liquid again, and I'm going to slide, slide, slide. Okay, clean the edges. Okay, look at the nail, make sure it looks good. Yep, looks good. Now I'm going to do this nail here. I'm going to wet it upside down, place. Okay, now I'm going to do the tip here because there's not much acrylic there at all. I'm just going to apply it to the tip and just glide it along and go down. Okay. Now I'm going to do the whole nail. Okay, I just want to make sure I look at the nail if it looks good, even. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit more right here. Okay, make sure you clean your brush. I'm all done now. I'm going to make sure my brush is clean because you don't want to have any of that acrylic in your brush. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to get my files and make sure my nails are dry. Okay, so how you test to make sure your nails are dry, you just tap it with the file. This is a coarse file, and I'm just going to clean off the sides. So I'm just going to push it along the side here and go along. Same on the other side. Now I'm going to shape it like a round, not pointy like that. Okay, do the thumb. Okay, do the sides. Same for this one. Okay, now I'm going to do under the nail and then on top of the nail. Okay, I'm going to do the next nail. Okay, now I'm going to grab my drill. I have the metal bit. You can always use a medium to fine bit, and I'm just going to do along where the cuticles are, but not touching the cuticle. Just want to make sure that acrylic is not on your just want to make sure that acrylic is not on your skin. So you want to just make sure you sand that nail. Okay. Now I'm going to turn up the drill a little louder, faster. I'm going to do the whole nail now. Okay, after that's done, just grab your fine block and just sand the nail, make sure it's smooth. Just to make sure it's smooth. So I'm just going to sand the nail underneath it and the top or the tip. Same for this one. Okay, I'll show you what they look like. And there you go. I'll be taking pictures, and yeah, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.